There are people I've met who radiate a quiet but powerful energy. They know exactly what they live for. They stand up for justice. They patiently teach children their very first letters. They create art that moves the soul. Or they quietly donate masks one by one during times when the world feels shaken. In them, I see one thing: clarity. An inner fire. You can call it passion, you can call it responsibility, but above all, it's purpose. Purpose is an invisible compass. When you have it, you no longer feel lost. It guides you out of the confusion of modern life, leads you toward fulfillment, and helps you understand why you're here. Purpose frees you from comparison and doubt because it focuses all your strength on a path that belongs to you alone. Finding purpose isn't supposed to be a heavy, pressured journey. Sometimes it's as simple as sitting quietly and writing down a few words of gratitude. Sometimes it's the laughter that bursts out in the middle of a busy day. Small moments like these gently bring you back to who you truly are. Today, with the Stoic philosophy as our compass, I want to share with you 7 practical ways to find your purpose, a path that will help you live not just for today, but leave your mark for tomorrow. Practical number 1. Identify the things you care about. It's strange how often we ask ourselves, what is my purpose in life? As if the answer will just fall from the sky. But purpose isn't something you stumble upon in some hidden treasure chest. It's something you shape, built from what you deeply care about and choose to commit to every day. It starts with an honest look at yourself and the question, what do I truly care about? There was a time I asked a friend who had just taken early retirement after years of working in finance, if you had a magic wand and could change anything in the world, what would you do? He paused for a long moment and then said, I'd want every child to learn how to read early and to know that they matter. I asked him next, so what could you do to bring the world just a little bit closer to that vision? And from that moment, he started writing to volunteer for an online tutoring organization, something he had never considered before. We often imagine grand visions, ending poverty, erasing injustice, bringing world peace. But Stoicism teaches us that instead of dreaming of what's out of reach, start by facing yourself. Epictetus said, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. That's a reminder that purpose doesn't live on paper or in inspirational talks. It lives in action, in using what you're good at to make the world just a little better. So how do you move from vague thoughts to concrete action? Instead of asking, how do I want to change the world? Ask yourself 3 simple questions. What am I good at? When have I demonstrated that skill before? And what do I care about in my own community? These questions seem simple, but if you sit down, write, and reflect, you'll realize that purpose isn't some vague concept. It's hidden in the scattered pieces of who you are, just waiting to be put together. You've spent a lifetime honing your ability to listen and give advice. You're the person friends turn to when they need someone calm and clear-headed. You've used that skill at work, with family, and in your relationships. So, instead of thinking, I'm nothing special, recognize that you have a rare gift, the ability to create a safe space for others to open up. Your purpose might be found in becoming a mentor for younger generations or contributing to local mental health initiatives. Stoicism also teaches us to let go of perfection and accept that the first steps are small and not always clear. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Be that person." It means don't wait until you feel fully ready, fully skilled, fully perfect. Start with the smallest action you can take today. Teach a child to read. Contribute to a community project. Host a small skills-sharing session. These small actions, done consistently, add up to a meaningful purpose. Sometimes, purpose doesn't come from something flashy. It comes from what's been quietly with you all along. A subtle skill, a persistent curiosity, a time you helped someone and felt your heart light up. Pay attention to those small signals. Then, write them down. Keep a journal, record your answers, and read them again in a week, in a month. You'll start to see a common thread. Purpose isn't a mountain you have to climb to earn the world's approval. It's the path you choose to walk every day, with steady steps and a calm heart. And when you start from what you truly care about, you won't just find your purpose, you'll find yourself. Practical number 2, reflect on what matters most. Have you ever felt like you care about too many things but don't truly know what matters most? I used to feel that way. Work, family, social relationships, reputation, achievements. Everything pulled me in different directions, and I thought I had to juggle it all. But that constant juggling drained me and left me feeling lost. Stoicism teaches us this. We cannot control everything, and we shouldn't try to. What we need is to narrow our focus and truly understand what is essential. What will bring us peace when the time comes to close our eyes one last time? Epictetus once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This isn't just about money. It applies to everything we chase. When you desire less, when you filter out what truly matters to you, you become free. The same goes for your life's purpose. Not everything you care about is meant to be your life's mission. One or two things that resonate with the core of who you are enough to build your life upon. I remember an old friend. She was successful, working in finance, earning well, and had a vast network. Yet, every time we sat together, she sighed. It all feels so meaningless. What am I doing all this for? I suggested a small exercise. Each morning, spend 5 minutes writing down the 3 things that matter most to you right now. At first, her list was long and chaotic: money, recognition, love, health, family, fame. But after a few weeks, clarity emerged. She realized that what troubled her most was her impact on the next generation. It turned out she had always loved teaching and mentoring young students, but she had only ever seen it as a side passion. 3 months later, she quit her corporate job, became a full-time lecturer, and launched a project helping underprivileged students gain financial literacy. Every time I see her now, she smiles, a smile I had never seen on her before. What she did was ask herself, what do these values say about me as a person? She valued growth and the passing down of knowledge, which showed that she wanted to leave something greater than herself behind. How do these values affect my daily life? She realized she felt happiest when talking with students, sharing life experiences, and helping others find clarity in their own paths. And finally, how do these values connect to what I want to do with the rest of my life? The answer was so clear that she could no longer turn back to her old way of living. Discovering what truly matters to you is a form of liberation. It doesn't demand that you become perfect overnight, but it gives you direction so that every action, every day, aligns with what you genuinely value. It becomes the force that keeps you going when you feel like giving up, the quiet flame that burns in the long, exhausting night. Remember, this process doesn't have to be heavy or overwhelming. Sometimes it happens in a quiet morning as you write in your journal and suddenly realize, oh, this is what makes me feel truly alive. Sometimes it happens in a casual conversation with an old friend, or when you ask yourself, if I only had 1 year left to live, what would I do? These small but honest moments can guide you back to your truest self. Once you've identified your core values and what matters most, the next step is to look inward to recognize your strengths and talents. Only when you understand what you do best can you turn your purpose into concrete action and create real impact in the world. You might be surprised sometimes. Your talent has always been there, just waiting for you to notice and use it at the right time, in the right way. Next, I'll show you how to identify your strengths and talents, and a fair warning, it might make you see yourself in an entirely new light. Practical number 3. Recognize your strengths and talents. Each of us carries unique strengths, talents, and skills shaped over time. We are not born perfect, but every experience, every stumble, and every moment of growth quietly forges us. The challenge is that not everyone is clear-headed enough to recognize what they are truly good at. Many go through life with an unresolved question: what do I have to offer? This uncertainty makes them hesitate, wander, and sometimes miss the chance to leave a meaningful mark. Stoic philosophy teaches us something important. Instead of seeking answers outside, start by observing yourself. But if you still can't see it clearly, listen to others. People who know you, teachers who have witnessed your efforts, friends who have been by your side through difficulties, colleagues who have worked with you. They might see things in you that you can't see for yourself. Imagine a conversation over coffee with a trusted colleague, an unexpected message asking for feedback from an old mentor, or even a family dinner where you genuinely listen to honest remarks. All these moments can act as mirrors, helping you see yourself more clearly. But remember, other people's feedback is just a reference. If it makes you nod in agreement, if it touches something deep inside you, hold on to it. If it doesn't, let it go. The Stoics understood this well. We cannot control what others think, but we can control how we receive and use those thoughts. Let me tell you a story. Sarah was a graphic designer who once thought of herself as simply someone in a creative profession. But one evening, she sent an email to 5 people: her former boss, a close friend, a long-time client, her younger sister, and her mother. The responses she received surprised her. All 5, each in their own way, emphasized that Sarah had a rare ability to tell stories through images in a way that touched people deeply and made them feel understood. They didn't just say she created beautiful visuals, they said she inspired them through her designs. Sarah realized she wasn't just a designer, she was a storyteller through art. From that point on, she pivoted her career toward community media projects, spreading meaningful stories and ultimately discovering a purpose she had never been able to name before. As Seneca once wrote, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." This isn't just about fear of failure. It's a reminder not to let self-doubt keep you stuck. Sending out those questions and listening to others point out strengths you can't yet see is not a weakness or dependency. It's courage. It's the willingness to face the truth. And the truth, though it may unsettle you at first, is the starting point for defining a clear sense of purpose. But also remember, the journey to identifying your strengths is not a straight line. There will be times when feedback is off the mark or comments make you question yourself. When that happens, return to Stoicism. See it as a challenge to build resilience. If someone's words don't strike a chord with your core, let them pass. But if they make your heart beat faster, if they ignite the urge to stand up and do something, treat that as a sign. Discovering your strengths and talents isn't about decorating yourself with labels. It's about finding how you can contribute. Because only when you use what you're good at to serve others does your life truly gain meaning. So ask, listen, filter, and then act. Your purpose in life isn't something handed to you. It's revealed through the process of searching, facing yourself honestly, and daring to use what you already have. Practical number 4, try volunteering. When it comes to finding purpose in life, many people immediately think of long moments of reflection, journaling, and asking big questions. Who am I? Why was I born? That matters, but it's not enough. Stoicism doesn't just encourage reflection, it pushes you to act. You can't sit in a room and hope purpose will magically appear. Purpose reveals itself when you try. Try doing something, step outside, and let life respond to you. One of the most practical ways to do this is through volunteering. Put yourself in situations where you use your own hands, heart, and skills to make a difference. You will learn more than any book could ever teach. You're not just giving back to the community, you're slowly discovering what feels right for you. Marcus Aurelius once said, "What is not good for the beehive cannot be good for the bees." This reminds us that no one exists in isolation. We are all part of a larger community. If you feel lost, start by serving your hive. When you do good, you don't just help others, you heal yourself. And little by little, what fits you will become clear. I once met Michael, a 28-year-old who worked in marketing at a big company but constantly felt empty. He quit, thinking he'd find meaning by taking more courses, reading self-help books, and trying meditation. But he told me, "The more I think about it, the more stuck I feel." Until one day, at a friend's invitation, Michael joined a volunteer group teaching English to kids in the suburbs. The first week, he came home exhausted. The second week, he started to feel happy. The third week, when a child wrote a word wrong and turned to him asking, "Teacher, did I do this right?" he realized, for the first time in years, his heart had truly connected with something real. He no longer felt torn between endless career choices. He knew he wanted to become a teacher. Volunteering gave him the answer he couldn't find through thinking alone. Doing good also connects you with people who share your values. That's one of the most important intangible assets. These relationships not only inspire you, but also open doors. Some doors only appear when you're standing among people who are united in doing good. Beyond that, doing good is medicine for your mental health. Studies show that volunteers tend to have more positive mindsets and even live longer. Because when we feel useful, life feels more worth living. But the most important thing is feeling that inner sense of rightness. The right kind of volunteering won't drain you. On the contrary, it energizes you. It lets you come home feeling like you did something meaningful, even if it was small. That's a sign you're on the right track. Remember, purpose isn't something you find in a day. It's the result of trial, error, and feedback. Give yourself permission to try. Start with the smallest step. Maybe it's texting a charity you once saw on Facebook. Maybe it's signing up for a park cleanup this weekend. Or something even simpler, spending an hour listening to someone who needs to be heard. If you've ever found your purpose through volunteering, share your story in the comments below. And if you're still wondering where to start, tell me what's holding you back. Who knows, the answer might come from this very community. Practical number 5. Imagine your best possible self. Stop and ask yourself, what are you doing right now? Are you doing something that makes your soul light up? Or are you just going through the motions, following habits, responsibilities, and the expectations of others? What truly matters to you? What do you care about? And why? The question why is more important than you think. True purpose doesn't come from chasing superficial things. It grows from the place where your heart feels both alive and at peace. It lies at the intersection of your abilities, your passion, and your contribution to the world. The philosopher, Epictetus, once said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." That quote hits like a wake-up call. Many people spend their entire lives doing what they think they have to do, without ever asking themselves, who do I want to be? When you picture the best version of yourself, it's not just daydreaming. It's a reflection of your soul's deepest desire. And once you see that vision clearly, you'll know exactly what you need to do. Picture this: a father, almost 60 years old, hair turning grey. For 30 years, he's been the rock of his family, waking up early, working late, and tirelessly providing for his wife and children. All his personal dreams were put on hold. But deep down inside, he's always carried one dream: to write a book. To write about the stories he's lived, the lessons he's learned, paid for with sweat, tears, and painful failures. One quiet morning after his coffee, he asks himself, if I only had 5 years left to live, what would I want to leave behind? The answer rings loud and clear in his mind: to write. He starts with diary entries, then short stories. He shares them on a small blog. At first, just a few readers, then hundreds, then thousands of people thank him, telling him his words helped them stand back up after loss and hardship. Eventually, he published his first book, which is not flashy but honest, profound, and full of heart. That book becomes a lifeline for people who feel lost. It's the final gift he leaves the world. That's not a dream, that's awakening. Or think about yourself. Maybe you have a stable job, but every morning you wake up feeling drained. There's something inside you longing to be given. Maybe it's care, creativity, or healing for others. But if you never give yourself the chance to imagine the best version of you, how will you ever know what you're missing? Young people can easily imagine the future. But what about those who are older? They tend to look back, and in looking back, they'll often see the thing they've always wanted to do but put aside for duty. Now, when those duties are lighter, that's when God gives them the chance to finally do it. I believe this with all my heart. God wouldn't place a desire in your heart without a reason. What you dream of is not random. It's the whisper of the mission you were given. And when you picture the best version of yourself, the person God wants you to become, you are already taking your first steps down that path. Write it down. What do I truly care about? Why does it matter? If all obstacles disappeared, who would I want to become in God's eyes and in my own? Then, start taking action. You don't need to change everything in one day, but shift your focus toward the people and experiences that bring you closer to that vision. A conversation with someone who inspires you. A good book. 1 hour each week doing something you've been putting off. Every small step is a declaration that you are moving closer to your purpose. And one last thing, the best version of you is not someone perfect. It's someone brave enough to live true to their inner calling. That's where Stoicism and faith meet, to live with calm, but not indifference. To accept what you cannot change, and to give everything you have to what you can. So, what are you doing right now? And who do you really want to become? Practical number 6. Cultivate positive emotions such as gratitude and awe. Sometimes, we search for a purpose as if it's a hidden treasure buried deep in the forest. We think we can only find it when we're smart enough, lucky enough, or accomplished enough. But in reality, purpose isn't some distant destination. It begins with the positive emotions we nurture every day, gratitude and awe. I still remember the first time I stood before the Grand Canyon. The ground beneath my feet felt like it was breathing. The red rock formations blazed under the sunset, and long streaks of clouds painted the sky like nature's brushstrokes. I could only stand there, silent, small, and full of awe. In that moment, all worries about work, deadlines, or fear of failure disappeared. I realized I was just a tiny part of this vast universe, but still an important part. And if this universe can create something so magnificent, there's no reason why I can't pour my heart into creating something meaningful of my own. Awe reminds us that we are alive. It reminds us there are forces far greater than us, and instead of being overwhelmed, we can be inspired. The Stoics understood this well. Seneca once wrote, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." True happiness is savoring the present moment without being haunted by the future. Gratitude is how we fully live in the present. When we are grateful, we stop complaining, stop chasing what we can't control, and start seeing how much we already have. I still remember that student clearly. One late afternoon, he came to me with dark circles under his eyes and a choked voice. He had just received a poor grade in an important course, and he was so disappointed he wanted to quit. He said he felt lost, that all his efforts were meaningless. I listened, then gently asked, "In the past month, what's one thing you felt most grateful for?" He sat in silence for a long time. Then, slowly, he spoke about his mother in the hospital, who never forgot to text him words of encouragement every morning. About his best friend who set aside everything and stayed up all night just to listen without judgment. About the teacher who once entrusted him with a major presentation, even though he wasn't the best student. As he spoke, his voice warmed, and his eyes lost some of their heaviness. A week later, he messaged me, "I signed up to volunteer at the Children's Center. I want to be someone who brings luck to others, just like others have for me." That's gratitude transformed into action, into purpose. You can start today. Every morning, write down 3 things you're grateful for. Just 3, no matter how small. A good cup of coffee, a beautiful sunny day, or a surprise message from an old friend. Don't dismiss them. These small things are pieces of a larger picture. And as that picture comes into focus, you'll see how much you already have to give. And/or, you don't need to stand in front of a natural wonder to feel it. Look up at a night sky full of stars. That's enough. Listen to the sound of rain falling. That's enough. Or, simply recall a moment in your life that made your heart tremble. The time you hugged someone you love after a long absence. The moment you heard your newborn's first cry. Hold on to those memories. They are the purest energy that will push you to act. It's no coincidence that those who find the greatest purpose are also the ones who are most deeply grateful. They understand that life owes them nothing. And because of that, they do everything they can to give back, even in the smallest ways. So don't wait for life to hit you hard before you start searching for purpose. Begin with one moment of gratitude, one moment of awe. Because from those simple things, you will find your path. And I want to hear from you. What has made you feel most grateful lately? What has left you in awe and reminded you how beautiful life is? Share in the comments, because sometimes your story could be the inspiration someone else needs to find themselves. Practical number 7, look at people you admire. There are moments when we feel lost, unsure of our path. We ask ourselves, how can I live a meaningful life? What should I do to contribute to this world? In those moments, one of the most practical ways to find answers is to look at the people we admire. Not just to celebrate them, but to observe them as mirrors reflecting what could be possible within ourselves. They offer clues. They give us a vision of what's achievable if we are willing to begin. Think of civil rights leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. or climate activists like Greta Thunberg. They are not just extraordinary people. They are living proof that one person with clear conviction can create powerful ripples across a still pond. When we read about their journeys, about the times they faced opposition, criticism, even threats to their lives, and still didn't back down, we feel uplifted. We realize they, too, are human, with fears and limitations just like us. What set them apart was their unwavering commitment to what they believed was right. But it's easy to feel overwhelmed by such towering examples. We look at them and, instead of feeling encouraged, we feel small, ordinary. That's when Stoic philosophy gently brings us back to what's simple and real. Look around you. It could be a friend quietly collecting food each week for the homeless without ever boasting about it. It could be a colleague who steadily pushes for social justice, knowing few people notice or applaud. They don't make headlines. They don't have millions of followers, but they are living admirable lives, no less worthy of respect. In those small actions, we find a connection to something bigger. You don't need fame. You don't need to do something that draws the world's attention. You only need to do what allows your conscience to rest easy at the end of the day. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That line hits like a wake-up call. How many times do we sit around analyzing, weighing, and worrying about things beyond our control, instead of standing up and starting with the smallest action? How often do we fear we're not good enough, not big enough, when all that's needed is to start living by the standards we believe in? Finding purpose isn't about chasing something grand far away. It's about observing, identifying the qualities you admire in others, and then asking yourself, how can I live closer to those qualities each day? When you look at the people you respect, ask, how do they stay persistent? How do they show kindness? Do they dare to act when no one's watching? Then ask yourself, can you start doing that right now, in your own way? If the answer is yes, even in the smallest step, then do it. Stoic philosophy never encourages waiting for the perfect moment or ideal conditions. Every big change begins with small, steady steps in the right direction. Like tiny drops of water, one by one, can eventually wear through the hardest stone. So stop seeking outside approval. Seek what your heart cannot ignore. Let admiration for others fuel, not self-doubt, but the drive to find your own inner compass. And one day, you may become a mirror for someone else, someone you might never even know. The purpose of life isn't some distant concept. It's the compass guiding every choice and every step forward. Today, we've reflected together. Purpose comes from understanding what we can control, training our minds, contributing to something bigger than ourselves, living with integrity, and constantly asking, what am I living for? Sometimes, that journey begins with the simplest things. Writing down one line of gratitude, taking a quiet moment to truly listen to yourself, or simply having the courage to face your fears and keep moving forward. Stoicism is not just a philosophy. It's a way of life that helps you find your path and stay on it. And you? What drives you when you wake up each morning? Share your answer in the comments. I genuinely want to hear your story. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share to spread the message, and subscribe so you won't miss the next videos. And right now, click the video next to this one, and let's keep going on this journey to discover the power of Stoic thinking together.